Coach, it's the Big East Conference opener. You've finished up the non-conference portion of the schedule now at 4-1, an impressive performance against Bowling Green. Is this where you had hoped to be before you got into the league?
Well, we'd hoped to be 5-0.
Sure.
But play the #1 team in the country and learn something about our football team at that point too. So over the last 5 weeks, we've gotten better. We've improved on all sides of the ball, and we know a lot more about our football team going into the Big East play, which is where it really counts.
The huge rushing attack against Bowling Green, I'm sure, made some other defensive coordinators in the Big East go, whoa, they got a little bit of this too. What do you think the fact that you showed that you can run the ball and Dustin's emergence, now what does that do to the scouting report on West Virginia?
It continues to accomplish what we want it to accomplish is just to get guys to play us honest. I've been a part of some offenses that couldn't rush the ball, and we could throw it, but we couldn't rush it, and it makes the throwing part of it challenging, So we want to run the ball, and we're going to try to run the ball, and we've tried to in all 5 games, and we've been effective periodically to the point where we just want to get them to play honest to the point to where we can have the advantage of being able to throw the ball when we want to.
Early on in the season when the rushing game wasn't clicking, you said, hey, schematically it's there, we're just not finishing our blocks. Okay, so you've taken steps there. Now, what about the mental psyche of the offensive line and of the running backs? How much of that will play into, hey, we can run the ball?
Yeah, which it does. There's no question. It's a good point. You got to have confidence in doing what you're doing. And again, I always go back to the same thing based on the fact that it's a new system. We're learning all aspects of the system and all aspects of our players and all the rest of it. It's the point to where once it works, it makes it easier to go practice it the next week, because our guys now are all of a sudden going, yeah, you're right. It did look like that, and we didn't do it, but then we did it, and we were able to be effective at what we were trying to do.
Your opponent this week played Western Michigan last week, and the Broncos threw the ball with great success. What is the difference between the way that you run your passing game and Western Michigan, and are there similarities?
There's similarities in it. They're a spread team that tries to run the football as well. And was fairly effective at being able to do that to the point to where they had the defense playing honest defensively and trying to take away the run, to where it was just matchups on the outside, which Western Michigan did a very good job of making plays in those specific matchups. And I feel like we got some receivers that when they're putting those guys in the same matchup situations, we'll have some guys that can make some plays.
What's the biggest challenge that UConn's defense presents on tape?
Physical. They're very physical. They got all their guys back from last year. They're minus a linebacker or two. But it's the same group of guys, that are used to playing, that have a lot of experience, that aren't going to back down from anybody. To the point to where they're the defending Big East co-champs, and they're going to come in here and they're going to try to kick-start their season, with Big East play.
Should be a good one, Coach. We wish you the best.
Thank you very much.
Jeff, you take a look at this UConn offense, and one thing that stands out and really has stood out over the last several years, that line is big and is physical. Have you played against as physical of a unit yet? Would LSU be right there?
Yeah, I think you'd probably compare them with LSU in terms of the way they want to try to play the game, and they're big, physical people up front. Really 3 big tight ends, and they like to utilize those guys in a couple different ways, and they've got the Ryan Griffin kid he really catches the football. So, I think they're probably similar in style to LSU in terms of trying to pound you and control the football.
George DeLeon is the offensive coordinator. He is back with Paul Pasqualoni. For years, he was the offensive coordinator at Syracuse, and yet they're not doing the old Syracuse stuff yet. So obviously they looked at their personnel and said, this is what we can do best. Is that how you're reading them?
Yeah, I think so. And, you can see some of the things that, that they like to do, but I'm sure that they're still trying to, get a feel for the kids, but they present some problems, and especially because of their ability to be physical and with some big people. They're really good at play action, and so we're going to have to really do a good job of being disciplined and having our eyes in the right place, and we frankly we have to do a better job of stopping the run. If we let people run the football on us, we're going to continue to get in trouble. And I think that's probably what people are going to want to do to try to slow us down a little offensively and eat some of the clock.
So much was said going into the game about turnover margin. We hadn't been able to force any. You got a nice harvest full of them against Bowling Green. What do you think that does, if anything, to a team's confidence? Is it kind of, once you start getting a few, you think, hey, here we go?
Well, we sure hope so. And I think the weather helped us a little bit, but and it kind of gets a monkey off the kid's back in terms of people quit harping on that a little bit. But we got to continue that. Those are game changers, and we need to do a better job. And it worked out for us last week, but those are things that we got to continue to improve upon if we're going to be a good defense.
Easy thought would be, okay, West Virginia is going to score some points here offensively, so let's ground it, let's make it a short possession game. Is that what you're anticipating?
I would think so, yeah. I think that, that's what people would like to do, and I think Bowling Green wanted to do that, and it kind of got away from them there in the second quarter, but I think that's what people want to do, especially in our league as the weather changes and it gets a little tougher. But that's what we anticipate.
And Coach, we wish you the best.
Appreciate it, Tony.